Hi, I'm Troy McGuinness, and I consult in how to improve forecasting and metrics-driven development. Now, I want to start a series on what I've seen as the biggest forecasting errors in product engineering. So I'm going to give you my top three. And first of all, it's going to be a really simple one, start date. Often when we do a forecast in product engineering or any engineering, we assume a start date where work will begin. Now that hardly ever happens. So if you ever see a start date that's the beginning of a quarter, the beginning of a month, call foul. Because what ends up happening is prior work doesn't allow new work to start. And even if it does start, it doesn't have a full complement of the team. So come up with a definition of what started actually means for your forecasting effort and use that. Now, my advice is to avoid ever putting a start date in. There's a lot of decisions that can be made in forecasting just on the duration. If we're just comparing option A versus option B, we just really want to know which one's longer and shorter. So we don't need a start date. But the moment you put a start date in, and a due date, an end date's going to happen in the forecasting tool. And that's what people are going to lock onto. So avoid putting a start date in if you don't have to. And if you put one in, please make sure that you understand whether you have a full team available and what might get in the way of hitting that start date. Now, errors number two and three are sort of combined. They're where we double dip on the team's throughput capacity. All right. Now, one of those is that often the team is doing multiple things in parallel. Now, what happens is when we get asked to forecast and estimate a piece of work, we do them separately, thing one, thing two, thing three. But when we go to execute them, often we start thing one and we get blocked on something. So we do a bit of thing two and we move back to thing one and so forth. And what happens is neither of thing one or thing two happen in the estimate in the date time that we expected because we're halving or quartering the throughput of the team on each of those efforts. So again, make sure when you give a forecast for a piece of work, you understand how much of the team's capacity is going to be allocated to that particular piece of work. If it's not 100%, don't assume it is. Now, the third error related is where we assume the team is fully allocated on one piece of work, but they also have other work to do. Now, the backlogs and the done column and our throughput or velocity that we record includes the team doing business as usual, day in, day out toil tasks. So make sure you reserve some of your throughput or velocity to doing those tasks going forward. Don't put 100% of the team's historical throughput and velocity on a project. Now, I've never seen it. I start at 75%, that even if the team is dedicated to a piece of work or a project, I assume they're only going to be 75% allocated to that work to begin with. But if you're dealing with a legacy platform, that could be as much as 50 or even only 25% of the team's effort going to new work. So this sort of double dipping on the throughput and velocity for errors two and three are pretty much the biggest problems I see in forecasting. But don't forget about that damn start date. It's never when you expect it is, and it's never the full complement of the team on day one. I'll see you next time. Thank you.